So I'm out here in the patio doing yard work. I don't like doing yard work. Heard the doorbell ring. That means we have a car delivery out front. So let's go up front and see what they delivered. Stand by. Okay. Yep. A car delivery. Let's see what we've got here. Looks like a Toyota RAV. Oh, good, the Adventure. That's an off-road package. Terrific. To tell you the truth, I haven't read much about this particular model, so let's take it to our test facility and see what we're dealing with here. I can't believe we actually have to stick a key in here to start. It's kind of outdated, isn't it? So we're at our garage and test facility. Let's take a look at this so-called Adventure package and see what we're getting for extra $1,000. Reading from the factory press release, we get a choice between front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. We get that with all Toyota RAVs anyway. The suspension gets raised from 6.1 to 6.5 inches. A heavy-duty cooling package for both the engine and the transmission. Comes in handy for towing. They list fender flares and mud flaps. I guess that's what we're looking at here. Large 235 by 55R 18-inch tires on 18-inch wheels. And these are quality Bridgestone tires, not some of that Chinese and Korean junk I've been getting on other vehicles as of late. Thank you, Toyota. I'm not supposed to make comments like that, but it's true, so I'll say it anyway. The Adventure package also comes with a roof rack and a cool looking black stripe that we saw earlier. So is this package worth an extra $1,000? If you're going off-road, definitely so, and we will be taking this off-road in the second half of this video. And if you watch my videos, you know one of the first things we do when we get a vehicle is take the headlights out in the dark and see how they perform. So let's get that out of the way right now. It's dark enough, let's check out the lights, see how they perform. Here we have the headlights on the building 100 feet away. Good height, good bright. Now we go to the high beams. Good center flame, not a widespread, but definitely pretty good. Now I'll go to a longer distance. Here we have the brights on the building 300 feet away, adequate light. Go to low beam, reaches out pretty good. Decent spread. Not the brightest I've ever seen, but they do reach out, so I'm not complaining. And now that summer is out, the second feature we've been doing is taking our infrared thermometer, measuring the paint temperature. You'd be surprised the difference between a light color and a dark color. And we're going out to the parking lot next door and give that a go right now. Here we have a white color. I know white's not a color. White shade, 99 degrees. Here we have a vehicle with black paint, 141 degrees. In our red metallic paint, 117 degrees. These temperatures were done with an outside temperature of 93 degrees, just for the record. And on the hood, which is very hot from the engine running, we can see the difference in temperatures between the red paint and the black stripe. 159 for the red paint, 180 for the black stripe. Which, once again, I warn people, don't get a black car unless you live in Hawaii or Alaska. You'll roast alive. Getting back to the vehicle itself, under the hood, the V6 is gone. Sorry guys, no more. Instead, we get a 4-cylinder, putting out 176 horsepower, hooked to a 6-speed automatic. With all-wheel drive, here are the figures: 22 city, 28 highway, 25 in mixed. We're going to rack around 400 or 500 miles on this vehicle, so we'll get the road mileage coming up. Pardon my shaky hand, but I don't use a tripod anymore. For those interested, there's a 194 horsepower hybrid available, getting around 30 to 32 mpg in the city. We already tested that hybrid RAV, and we have a link for that coming up at the end of this video. So stay tuned again. So let's open the hatch and take a look at the interior. There's plenty of storage room in the rear. Another advantage of the Adventure package, which they don't list in the literature, you get heavy-duty rubber mats all over the vehicle for hauling things like firewood and whatever protects the carpet. And under the Adventure rubber mat, we do get a real spare tire, thank you. Now going from the rear, we'll go to the second row seating. Plenty of room back here for 2 full-size adults or 3 medium-sized kids. We do get storage mat pockets in back of the seats, and the heavy-duty rubber mats mentioned before. Basically, the cabin is well designed with very good materials and workmanship. We get a large, roomy glove box, simple climate controls. I did find it rather odd that a vehicle loaded up with all these options and a sticker price of just under $32,000 would not have satellite radio. You can have it installed later by the dealer, but AM FM, come on, it's cruel and unusual punishment. This is what I'm going to be listening to all week. Medium-sized center console. A manual emergency brake in between the seats, thank you very much. Don't need electronic emergency brakes. Don't want this. Lots of large buttons, easy to use with heavy gloves. You'll appreciate that in the wintertime. The sun visors do expand to block out the sun from the side windows, like so. I did have one complaint, and that has to do with the gauge cluster. It's a pretty good design, and you have lots of useful information. But we're in the shade right now, where everything is easily seen. But get out in the sun, and you see all the glare obstructing our view. Not serious, but very annoying. And here it is from another angle. The factory should have done something about this before it went in production, but they didn't, so you have to live with it. Okay, part 1 show and tell is over. Let's go to part 2 and start doing some driving. A lot of people find the power steering on the RAV to be a little bit too light, but with these heavy wheels and tires, it has far better feel, so I'm not complaining. And with bigger tires, the cornering ability is far better than your typical RAV. Let's see if we can spin this out. Not bad. When you have a 4-cylinder engine pulling about 3,700 pounds, not the quickest on the planet, but if you press the sport button, it does give you an edge. Takes a while for the engine to spool up, but once it gets going, the vehicle gets going. Pretty smooth engine, nice brakes, in fact excellent brakes. These larger wheels and tires do make this vehicle bounce around a bit on sharp impacts, but nothing serious. We'll demonstrate this on our speed bump test. We'll be doing around 25 to 30 miles per hour. So let's give it a go. Here comes speed bump number 1, 25 miles per hour. Heard a lot of thumping, but didn't feel it. Number 2. Number 3, 30 miles per hour. And a big nasty one. As I said, you can hear the thumping, but you don't really feel it. This is a very strong body structure. Very stable, not an issue. The remainder of the video, the only driving we're doing is fuel economy and off-roading. Yes, taking it off-road, so let's do it. So far we put 135 miles and got 18.8 miles per gallon, but that was some pretty hard driving. We're going to do some freeway driving next. So I'll reset the computer and here we go. These larger tires and wheels provide far more stability than what you get on the standard RAV with the smaller tires and wheels. Makes it far more comfortable to drive on the expressway, especially at higher speeds. We're reaching the end of our trip, so we're going to pull over and see what our highway fuel economy was. So we put on 120 miles, 25.3 mpg. I was going a little bit faster than I should have been, passing a little bit more than I should have been. We have a second trip coming up. Stay tuned. We have more fuel economy tests coming up in the video, but first we're going to do some off-roading, because that's what the big tires and extra ground clearance are for, right? For extra traction, there is a lock button for driving through sand. Haven't had to use it yet. The good feature of having a narrow vehicle is you can get on narrow roads like this. One thing you'll find when you're going out in the middle of nowhere are old cemeteries along with the old abandoned ghost towns. And here's an interesting headstone. Remember our beloved Dookie, bravest and most loyal shepherd taken from us by the flash flood, August 1983. Well, Dookie, you got buried in style. Well, after walking 10 miles, I seem to have lost my vehicle. I don't think Toyota's going to be too happy. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. There it is. I'm saved. This body structure is very rigid. It does an excellent job of absorbing the impacts on this rough, nasty road. And these giant tires provide excellent cornering ability and traction, which you need on loose gravel. The stability control hasn't engaged yet. I like to do more off-roading videos, but the winds out here are getting pretty bad, around 35 to 40 miles per hour, except for this little cubbyhole I'm hiding in. And dust storms I don't need in this vehicle right now. It's going back tomorrow, and I don't need sand in the interior. So we're going to get back on the freeway, do some more fuel economy testing. Stay tuned. Well, I was going to stop and get a steak, but it looks like he's been here about a week or two. Maybe it's not such a good idea. Whew. Yuck. We're at the 440 mile mark, almost up to our 600 mile goal. We have one more highway fuel economy test coming up. Reset everything to 0. Let's see what happens. Here we go, another 102 miles, averaging 73 miles per hour, 25.5 mpg. Not bad. Another RAVs I've driven, I've gotten around 27 to 28 mpg. I think these larger tires and higher ground clearance are affecting the fuel economy just slightly. But I think it's worth the trade-off to get better handling and superior stability and off-road ability, but that's just my opinion. So, is the adventure package worth the extra money? If you're going off-road, certainly so. The high ground clearance alone makes it worth the money. Even if you're not going off-road, the better stability and cornering ability with the larger tires makes it worth the price in my book. So if you're at the Toyota dealer and you see one of the RAVs with the Adventure emblem on the back, that's the one you might want to test drive. And after getting caught in that dust storm, I think we're ready for a wash job. If you're not interested in the Adventure option for the RAV, that's fine, because the vehicle itself is still a fine one to get. We'll be running long after the warranty runs out. Here are some links to other SUVs we've driven. Just click and watch.